Hey everybody, Sandi Maki here with another episode of Heavy Breathing Just Before Midnight. So the good news is that I get sexy morning voice every day this week because I've got a little something going on with my voice. Sometimes you only get it first thing in the morning. I happen to get it all day long. So this is like a bonus episode in so many ways. So I know I talk about communication and the breakdown in communication so often in these, but that's what happens to be on my mind. Something's going on in my life right now in the business realm that just has me kind of annoyed at routine intervals. And as soon as I think that I find some objectivity to what's going on, it just, kind of shows back up again and then makes me second guess everything and question everything. And really looking back on it, next year it'll be like a blip on the radar and it really won't be a big deal. But today and every day when it comes up, it just is like this big and ugly thing. And I have a hard time sometimes keeping a perspective about it because, as much as I want to be objective and I want to not be emotional about it and let it just go by the wayside, it comes up inevitably and then I get emotional about it. And then I have to process through all those emotions, and then it dissipates and it goes away. And so I don't know if you have anything like this in your life that comes up. I would imagine that most of us do. I think it's hard for us to back up and just be at peace with everything. We have emotions and we have them for a reason. We have them so that we can react to things, and we have them so that we can have a barometer of sorts of what's going on in our life. I don't think life would be any better without the emotions. I think emotions are part of what make us feel alive. Although if we get back to the purpose of life, and what is that, I really haven't figured that out yet. If you have discovered the secret, I would sure love to hear about it. So we're on this roller coaster of emotions, and they go up and down, and we become objective and things become so clear, and then we become non-objective and things become so unclear that I guess sometimes we wonder kind of what's the point. I guess the point is trying to navigate it in the best way that we know how and deal with the roller coaster of emotions, whether sometimes good or sometimes not so good. Maybe in a month or two I'll share more of kind of what the specifics are going on today, if anyone cares to ask. Otherwise, maybe they'll have kind of melded back out into the ripple. If we look at this like the ocean, those waves that just get so big and that crest towards the beach, those are the big blips that we have. But when you look at the ocean as a whole, just like we could look at the population as a whole or the amount of humans on this earth as a whole, if we look at one wave in relation to the whole of the ocean, it's just a blip and it doesn't mean a whole lot. Yet the closer you are to that wave, the more significant that it seems. And so I have what seems to be at times a significant wave, and yet I know that I can back up and I can look at it just like I was looking at the ocean, and it's just a really minor thing. So my trick is remembering at the times when I'm so consumed by the wave that I'm looking at it and it's staring me right in the face and it's right in front of me. It's remembering at those times that this wave eventually dissipates and it becomes part of the bigger ocean, and it really doesn't matter. And when time passes, it seems like it's not such a big thing. I think that's what helps to keep it in perspective. I keep talking about communication too. I think communication and expectation, which I guess, you roll all up into communication, because what other way do I have of letting you know how I feel? Or do you have to letting me know how you feel? Then this thing we've got called communication. So it is communication, but it's communication and emotion and self-awareness and language skills and verbal skills and written skills. It's all these things wrapped up into one that make up this thing that I keep referring to as communication. And it's my expectation versus your expectation, or anybody's expectation, that comes into play during these situations of communication. Thinking back to the book The Fountainhead, which I have just completed reading, and I know that you've heard me say it's a really, really good book. It's a very long book, especially if you get the paperback in very small typography. So it'll take you a bit to get through it, but I think it would be well worth it. In this thing that we do called business, we should each have the free will choice of bringing to the table our particular skills, talents, and abilities. And then we should be received by the other party as having those skills, talents, and abilities. And when we have the free will choice to work together, we should. And when something's not working, we should have the free will choice to communicate that it's not working and move on from there. And this is where our systems, in our society especially, start to be a little more challenging and break down. Because what if one party wants out and the other party doesn't? Or what if my expectation is that our agreement has been fulfilled, but yours has not? Then what happens? So I think it's communication, and then I also think it's the system that we play in. And I know a lot of people really wouldn't maybe get it when I talk about this communication and it being like the ocean and a wave and a ripple. And yet some people would. So what I'd like to attract more into my life is the people who get it that way. And what I'd like to let just go play with the other waves are the people who don't. So if you're listening, I'm thinking that you're one of the people who gets it, and you're one of the waves within the ocean that it's worth bumping into. And there's a lot of waves that are probably just going to go about their day, and they're going to continue being their wave and their annoying selves and their, whatever else I could choose to say about them or not. But I won't. I think I'm going to back up and I'm going to glide above the ocean for a minute, and I'm going to look at this wave from today, and I'm going to appreciate it for being there. And I'm going to appreciate it for being there in 6 months when I'm looking back at it, and it's no more than a ripple in the water. So hopefully you can have some moments like that too. Until next time, this is Sandi with heavy breathing just before midnight, sometimes a little bit after, and like today, way, way before. Make it a great one. I'll talk to you next time.